Hey there everyone, I am King 5, Meteorologist Adam Claibon. Happy Tuesday. It's been a warm day for us, but it's been a really hot day across the eastern side of the country. I wanted to start off with a full picture of the nation's temperatures, and I'm recording this as of about 7:30, 8 o'clock our time here. That means it's about 10:30 going on 11 o'clock in the evening at night across the eastern side of the country, especially the East Coast. And check out where temperatures currently are. Still sitting in the lower 90s there at 91 in New York City, 80 degrees in Detroit. Right now sitting at 89 in Louisville, but I wanted to show you right here. You see that somewhat faint line right there where you go from the oranges to the yellows? Well, that's your cold front. That's slowly but surely working its way eastward, and it's going to bring in some much cooler air and more of a relief for areas over that way. And again, you have to take in consideration as well, it's not only just hot, it's been really humid out across that part of the country. For us, it was another warm day, and again, it's still around the mid-70s, so we're still warm here even into the earlier part of our Tuesday evening, but there's a front that's going to be moving through for us as well, and that will cool things down, maybe even bring a few shower chances here. But the middle to latter part of the work week looks to be a much different story from where we were here for Monday and Tuesday. Expect the clouds to come back around as we head on here throughout the night, and we're really going to see those thick and there are going to be some shower chances. Higher chances going to be on Thursday. Now, by the time we head into the weekend, we start to crank those temperatures right back up again. We're back up at least near the 80-degree mark. There will be some 80s, but more widespread 80s coming back into play for us early into next work week, as we're expecting highs to be maybe even into the mid-80s in some spots. But first, we got to get through these next few days, which will be a bit cooler. Mid to upper 60s for highs, some sprinkles around heading into the day on Wednesday, a bit more of a widespread chance heading on into Thursday before we try to dry out heading to Friday. Wouldn't say we can completely rule out a shower, but we should be mainly dry there, and then we're definitely going to dry out as we head on into the weekend. So here's that forecast. A stretch of 3 days in the 60s for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then we'll head up into the weekend, see those 70s and possible 80s return before definitely seeing the 80s as we head into the start of next work week. And we're getting closer to the 4th of July, and we got a little bit of information to kind of now hone in on what possibly could be happening. More on that here coming up in a second. Westport, cloudy skies, and out this way we've already started to really bring in the cooler air mass. Things are cooling down for us. Rain, well, not too present as of right now. Could start to see some of those sprinkles here as we go later on into the night. Up this way around Port Angeles, a lot of clouds, but again, no rain really to speak on as of now either there. Tacoma, you can see off into the distance, we actually have seen these clouds move in, but they've been upper level clouds, and that's why you can still see this faint view of Mount Rainier off into the distance. So we do expect that to not be the case heading into the day tomorrow with this thicker cloud coverage moving on in, but a quiet evening for you there. And then also here as you look from our Seattle tower camera, from our Columbia Tower out towards Bellevue and looking out over Lake Washington. There are the Cascades right there again. The clouds are very high. Temperatures going to go from the 70s here this evening, drop well into the 50s, and we're really seeing and noticing more of the difference after midnight when it looks like that front will be pushing on through for us. Now let's take a look at the temperature change from at this point yesterday, because you can see near the I-5 corridor there's really not as much of a change, maybe up or down a degree or 2 or 3, but it's out over the Olympic Peninsula where you do have the biggest changes, as well as out towards the coast. That's the most noticeable change, as we're down by about 5 to 8 degrees out that way for the coast, which puts most of our temperatures out there in the 50s, while off towards the east we're still holding on to not only just low 70s, mid 70s too. Bremerton 75, 75 in Puyallup, 74 currently in Seattle. Cool air though, it's going to be working its way in, and it will be rushing through here as we head into the night. So by the time you wake up early tomorrow morning, you'll feel the difference in that air mass. Here's radar. Could be maybe squeezing out a few light sprinkles up this way around Clallam County up there near Nia Bay. But most of the moisture is actually heading up to Vancouver Island and the rest of BC. That system will continue to work its way eastward. And again, we don't really have a ton of moisture initially with this disturbance, but you see that mass of clouds right there. That will eventually work its way closer to us. That's going to help to introduce a few more areas of rain into our forecast and help to enhance some of that shower activity by Thursday. So looking at Futurecast, we'll head into the night. You'll see that some of these clouds will still be around, and we'll keep things pretty thick in terms of the cloud coverage. But by early tomorrow morning, here we are at 7:30 Wednesday, and we're starting to see some of those sprinkles pop up. some extra moisture, but again, this is going to be just more of that coolish maritime air that's making its way on in here. That'll keep us cool throughout the entire day. It won't really see a whole lot in terms of shower activity with that, but we'll enhance it a little bit here as we go into the daytime hours, kind of get a little instability. No worries about thunderstorm activity though, but it does die off as we head on into tomorrow night. But then by Thursday, this is when we start to see those chances returning to the area. This is at about 7 to 8 o'clock. We're seeing some of those showers back here across western Washington. Not too widespread as of yet, but that massive moisture in those clouds that I was referring to that finally arrives and helps to produce some of the showers that we're going to expect with this disturbance heading on into more of Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, and that will track through parts of western Washington. Looks like the highest chances right now from about Tacoma northward, maybe even more so Seattle northward. Won't be lasting for too long, and then once it gets out of here, things do start to quiet down a bit as we head on into the upcoming Friday and then in through the weekend. Now, looking at precip amounts with this, a tenth, maybe 2/10 of an inch, up to 1/3 of an inch of rain with this disturbance as we go through here on into the next 3 days. So not going to be a big rain producer at all. And what we're expecting is once we get past this is really more of a summer-like trend heading on into the weekend with highs back around the mid to upper 70s, which will be above average. Average now up to 73 degrees, but we continue that warming trend into Monday and Tuesday as we get up to 81 and 82 degrees. And we'll probably peak out about there before numbers start to come back down. And checking out what's happening towards the 4th of July. We cool down, but I think we're still keeping highs closer to the mid and upper 70s at that point. And we should see a decent amount of flow when it comes to our wind. We need a little wind to help when it comes to the fireworks to blow some of that smoke out of here, so it's not going to be all coming together and really blocking that view of the fireworks show or display that does take shape for us here heading up into late next week. So we need a little bit of wind. Of course, we don't want to have the inclement or the wet or the very windy weather to go along with that. So for the time being, it looks like our forecast is shaping up to be quite nice and dry too as we head on into that time. Not too hot either. All right, let me go ahead and continue this. Temperatures tonight dropping down in the low to mid 50s. So kind of average here for this time of the year to drop down around those numbers. Highs will top off at about 63 in Blaine, lower 60s around Anacortes. Mount Vernon, expect a high of 64 degrees. More mid to upper 60s around Snohomish County. Out over our islands, Camano and Whidbey Island, expect highs around the low 60s, even upper 50s possible up this way around Oak Harbor. Going to be a coolish day there. 69, just shy of 70 there in Shoreline, 68 in Redmond. Issaquah will top off at about 68 degrees over towards Bainbridge Island, mid 60s. Bremerton topping off at 68 degrees. Down this way for Tacoma and Puyallup, around 70 for us there. 68 in Yelm, Olympia topping off at 68. A little farther south, getting closer to the Oregon state line. Not a whole lot changing there. Upper 60s for highs. Off towards the coast, we'll see more of those low 60s and see quite a few of 50s as you head farther north here, closer to Claylock, Tahola, Tulips up to 63, Ocean Shores up to 59, Forks topping off at 61 degrees. Here's your 7-day forecast. We got the 3-day stretch of highs in the 60s. Lows will be in the 50s here. Highest chances again will be on Thursday as far as our rain. We'll keep most of those chances around more the afternoon and heading into the early part of the evening before we do have this summer-like weather come back around. We warm things back up nicely over the weekend and we'll see more 80s heading on into next Monday and Tuesday.